Hello, this video is not sponsored. I bought this set for $32 US on AFOBrick, AFOBRICK.com. I'm seeing it for $36 US on Amazon, and it's as low as $28 with economy air shipping on barweir.com. This is from the brand Sluban, and it's from the series of classic of mountains and seas, and specifically it's one of their Qinglong mechs. I believe that they've made two of this character, two different mechs of this character. This comes with 704 pieces. It is well articulated, which I'll try to demonstrate, and it does use stickers for most of the decorations. So if you are a sticker hater, please avert your eyes or just imagine this without any of the major decorations. I will say I personally really like the decorations because they've got this iridescent effect in them that works pretty well. And because of many of the angles on this, you get to see that shine, that sheen shows up, and the polychromatic effect from a lot of angles as you move it around. This is about 10 inches tall at the head, not including the horns or any of this stuff on the backpack. I don't want to artificially inflate the number there. Or about 25 centimeters. For the sake of context, here is a minifigure. I'll just put that, just a random minifigure I happen to have around. Put that in the legs. And then for a little bit more context, a kind of typical height of 1/100th scale Gundam mech. So see, the head is right there. Again, ignore the backpack stuff. Head is right there. Not quite perfect grade size. It's kind of in between the two. There is no minifigure included with this set, and as far as I can tell, there's no good way to put a minifigure into the chest. I didn't look into that too carefully, but it seems like this was designed to be built and used just like this, more as a robot or a self-piloted or autonomous sort of mech. Obviously, you've got the built-up dragon heads for the pauldrons over here, and the head itself, the main head element, is mostly one piece. As you can see right there in the center, a custom mold for that with a print on it. So this is it's actually masked painting. This is the one thing that's actually not stickered to get its decorations on it. So you got the two gold paint applications on there, and then the red for the eyes in there. And then all the stuff on top gets added on. There are multiple golds in this. I do want to call that out very clearly. So right here, these sort of Exoforce arms sort of elements have a slightly greenish gold. I really don't like when golds are made greenish, but then the molded gold pieces where there's no coating on the outside is typically more of a slightly orangish, but I think a pretty good color of gold, maybe a little bit on the light bronze side, just a bit. Here again, you have more of the coated pieces. Obviously, you have more of a reflective, not quite chrome, but closer to chrome effect with the stickers. And then here you can see the contrast between the plated gold, which is actually just a paint over the top, and then the molded gold right here. There were a couple of parts in here as well that had a slightly lighter color of molded gold. Here you've got the painting. This the edge of the guando, excuse me if I pronounce that incorrectly, and I think it varies by specific region a little bit as well. But the edge of this is done with the silver pieces as well, which are painted on the outside to make them nice and shiny. And again, most of the decorations that you're going to see, if it's not a solid piece, those are accomplished with stickers. This does have a lot of pieces in it, and you're gonna see a bunch of them as I go, just kind of casually. I'm not going to call them all out, but it has a lot of pieces that I personally have never seen before from any system just to date. I mean, I don't have but so much experience with different systems, but they definitely have a lot of parts that are unfamiliar to me, which is great. It was really enjoyable to see new shapes, new parts, new takes on familiar looking pieces as well. And ultimately, the build experience was pretty good with a few small exceptions. Some of the Technic style pieces have tolerances that are just a little bit too tight, especially in their axle holes. So some of the places where axles were used to combine multiple subassemblies together just required a little bit more force than I would have liked. And in one particular assembly that was mirrored from side to side, I did find that where I had two Technic plates, those little thin ones that went around axles. They were supposed to be back to back and then pushed over an axle. I found that I needed to push just one of them down at a time. Otherwise, they kind of pushed each other off to the side and created sort of a wedging effect, which made the whole thing tighten up and tense up. I really like this piece right here. There's just so many really cool and interesting pieces. And like I said, just good interpretations of parts that I have seen before. Here, just done better with more interesting connections or more useful connections. And again, in my personal opinion, this does actually have a second weapon on it. It's part of the backpack thing, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. But first, I want to take you through some of the available articulation. There are two compromises here that I need to tell you about right from the start. The weapon is pretty solid and pretty top heavy, and the joints in the arms aren't strong enough to hold it with a single arm, single hand most of the time. So if I let go of this, see, it's just falling straight down. There's just not enough friction in all of these joints here. The wrist is actually pretty good, and that is a specialized piece used for the wrist. But let me go ahead and take this out just to make this simpler. It's kind of a shame that they have a Technic connector right here, but nothing to connect it with, because these hands do use bars. They have bar-sized connections going through them rather than the axle style. So, all right, where do I start? Head is on a ball joint and also has a swivel at the base of it. So the head is able to kind of gig forward and back, and also the add-on stuff up here is able to be repositioned a bit. But for the most part, you're going to be able to get it to go forward like that and like this. And of course, it's able to rotate. Again, it's on a ball end with pretty good orientation. So you are able to take good advantage of the fact that it is a ball end and get movement on many axes. These pauldrons are able to get out of the way of the arms, but not as well as I would have liked. Honestly, I wish that they were designed with a little bit more clearance, because see how I'm immediately having to kind of make space for this. Now you see that this just became loose as well. That's a very small design flaw, and I don't know if there's a way that I can kind of pass that or bypass that. There's actually a head of an axle. It's the axle that goes straight through here. Has a head on it that is a stud, and when this is pushed in all the way, if I push it up, now it has friction. It has great friction in there. That's very good. And you're able to rotate up here. This is good. But when messing around with it, it tends to loosen up and pull down. So you just have to push it in. It's not going to fall out or anything, but it's just something to look out for. I wish that this had been designed just a little bit better so that the assembly process would lock that in place to where it wouldn't want to pull out. Again, the pauldron here, this is able to move up and down a bit, but it's not doing that much to help with the articulation of the shoulder, which is on a ball joint. So it is able to rotate, to flex in and out like this. And the up and down, it's really missing the up and down. It's really missing the in and out motion. I do like being able to rotate this, but then it's also a little bit limited right here. The elbows have two joints. This is actually kind of nice because I can shift this forward if I want to a little bit. See, there's a joint there, there's a joint there, and this just came down again. So it's going to look loose. Again, I called that out already. So this is able to fold up nice and tightly like this, or you can kind of stretch it out if you need to. But for the most part, this is only going to get just past 90 degrees right there. You got the ball joint right here, which also has limitations because of the wrist over here, the forearm. That piece that sticks out down here, kind of gets in the way of the base of the hand there. So again, you do have to watch out. There are some things that aren't going to be as useful articulation-wise as you might want to see. It does have good waist articulation, and there's a ball in there, so this is able to get some crunching action in the abs, also side to side right there. That's good. The flaps on the sides have some ability to get out of their own way to be able to move the legs. Now, they do have some very strong joints used for the legs, for the top of the thighs, and for the knees there. These are actually attached to the side of the thigh. I'm going to move this out of the way here just so we can get more articulation. We can mess around with, play with there. So this is ratcheted here, right? It's ratcheted. It's kind of running out of space right now because it's starting to impact the front, but it's able to ratchet rearward as well. And then on top of that, you're also able to splay in and out. That's good. And yeah, that's about it for there. There's another joint at the right around the knee, so you're actually able to rotate here. Would have been nice to rotate up higher than that, but that's okay. This is working, so you're able to rotate here. That has good friction and locks in pretty well. And then you have another very strong, exceptionally strong ratcheted joint right here. I would call that too strong because, oh my gosh, I'm worried as I do this that I have to be careful about where I'm putting pressure now. This is able to kind of move out of its own way or just cover up, try to cover up. It's unfortunate about the extra length of axle there. I do believe that I pushed that in all the way, but it can cover some things up, to help to hide some of what's going on there. You can also bring the knee pad here back in a little bit, try to split the difference and distance between those. I'll go ahead and bring this back. See, this just, it's an uncomfortably strong joint right there. Interestingly, this right here it's kind of double jointed. So this is able to shift upwards and down just a little bit. If you can see it right there, upwards and down. That's really useful to have actually. And then down here at the base, all of this at the ankle, the base of the ankle into the foot is able to rotate back and forth. This cover is able to get out of its own way. You can see that's able to move quite far out of the way, but let's see if I can move this out of the way. I'm just trying to see how much, forward articulation I'm able to get, extension on the foot. That's about it, so if the leg is back. But then it is also able to rotate side to side, and this is a large ball joint down here, so you can rotate this and bring the whole thing out, kind of shift it to the side, which can be useful for getting your center of gravity right when you need for certain poses. And then these flaps on the sides are able to get out of the way. So as a result, you have a decent amount of articulation. Some things are more limited than I wish they were, just because of small things that get in the way. But some of these joints are a little bit lacking in strength up in the upper arms especially, and then you don't get a lot of locking down in the feet. So pretty much the feet are just going to settle. What about getting it into it's ridiculous, right? It's too much. What about getting it into more of a forward moving action pose? Let me see if I can get this set up. Yeah, there I had to do a cut because it took me a while to get everything settled down and, to stand properly. Now I'm pretty confident in this stance. It's kind of a weird running pose, but it is able to get into dynamic poses that are static, that are just sitting in one spot. You do need to have both feet on the ground realistically, and just find the spots. And as you're doing that, as you're posing it up, especially because it has a few joints or a couple joints per side that are particularly strong, you may find yourself knocking things off. Like I tended to knock the whiskers off of the dragon pauldrons, the clear blue pieces here, tended to knock those off. And a couple times just grabbing inside, there were some of the weird slope pieces that are small, that is just a single piece on top, that are just easy to kind of knock out of place. Easy enough to put back together, but definitely this is not designed for play. It is not durable enough for play. I do not recommend it for kids whatsoever. Oops, supposed to put this back down. I do like their ball joints. They're smaller ball joints, and the fact that they use them pretty widely and freely throughout this. But yeah, not for play. Good for display though. Would be even better with the help of a stand, but you don't need a stand. I'm going to be confident enough in having this in various stances for sure. Again, it's just, it has its limitations, and I wanted to just be very clear about that and show it honestly, rather than just gushing about how awesome this thing looks and how cheap it is, which I'll get back to. But yes, it looks awesome. It went together okay. I mentioned the thing about a couple Technic pieces, or some of the Technic pieces being too stiff, but also the way that they do bags is really weird. The instructions are perfectly nice. I mean, they got some nice illustrations in here and everything for context, but there are 14 numbered bags, and each one only has a small number of pieces, which is great. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. But look at this. Step 1, open 4 bags. Now, even though it's 4 bags, it's not a large quantity of pieces. Like, I was able to fit all those pieces onto just 2 regular trays for me, stuff that I use for just normal normal stuff. So it really wasn't an issue. It wasn't a problem having the space, but it took away a little bit from just how nice the experience could have been. Just the fact that they did have me open 4 bags at a time. Now this is even weirder, because as you go along, you'll not use up all the pieces from that set of 4, and you'll see some bag numbers repeated. So you'll be leaving some parts behind on the tray, or in your bowl, or however you're doing it, and then adding more to it. Never do you add so many that it feels oppressive, or it feels unfortunate, just the number of parts that you have to sift through at any time. But yeah, I feel like it could have been a little bit better. But as you can see, these instructions are perfectly fine and nice. And pretty much everywhere you go, you're going to see parts that you may not have seen before, unless you've had experience with a lot of different brands. So I really appreciate how far they went with, or how far they've come or gone with their part inventory. Some really useful stuff that I just was happy to come across. The color consistency between the parts, except for the golds. There, like I said, there are multiple styles of gold in this, with the plating, or the painting, I guess, or the molding in 2 different colors. But at least within the regular solid colors, I didn't have any issue with color consistency. And let's go ahead and show this, because it has to do with this. You might not see it yet. Let me show you. Look at that. How cool is that? That's right. The backpack fully turns into a bow, and you can choose to make it look more like a traditional longbow, or go partial compound. Like, you have some options in there, because this is all joints that can be adjusted. They can all be rotated, except for just right here. You've got one here, ball joint, and the ball joint there, and then you can also rotate up here in 3 segments, excuse me. So that's nice. And then this is intended to be the arrow, and I like that they've got the transparent yellow pieces there, and then also the solid piece for the end. However, do you notice that I have done a content creator trick here? I have done a toy photographer trick. I have done a product reviewer trick. If I were a product reviewer who likes to deceive people, like many do, I stuck the bottom of the bow right here into one of these flaps, because there is not nearly enough strength in that arm to hold up this whole weapon. It wasn't able to hold up this weapon. It's not able to hold up this weapon. So if I just flick that out of there, it immediately starts to fall. Yeah, there's no way that's being held up. It needs some help. Now, of course, I could kind of just straighten this out and have it simply brace against the ground instead. Go for the long hunting bow kind of look, and that's fine. There might be some other types of poses that you can get out of it that will work in that way. But going with that tack stance, having it sideways like they showed in the rendered pictures, is just not going to work. You need to have something to help support the weapon, whichever weapon it is. At least 2 hands need to be holding it, or preferably brace against the ground or something else. This really could have used a small stand. A lot of, talk about in the world of Gundams. I mean, this is able to stand up on its own. I still have it on a stand just to stabilize it more. And just within action figures and with buildable figures, it's very common for people to use stands to hold things up, whether it's the mech or the accessories or some sort of effects that might be flying off from it. That's not an excuse. I'm just stating a fact. That is something that happens. So again, this is not set up more as a play set. It's set up more as a more high-end, like brick-built model sort of thing is how this has to be looked at for success. If you look at it as primarily a toy, something to be hands-on, obviously it's too fragile, doesn't have enough strength in a few joints, has too much strength in other joints. But as we come towards the end here, I can kind of relax a little bit. I don't have to prove anything anymore. I can tell you this feels amazing to me. And I'm speaking now biased as an adult who is a fan of mechs in general, who's a fan of plastic models in general, and is a fan of brick-built stuff. Just the number of different parts that I was able to experience going through this that I've never seen before was great. I personally did not mind the stickers. Just personally, I really like, again, I have a bias. I like that iridescent holographic polychromatic style. And I like the complexity of this thing. It doesn't feel quite like Mach or custom creation level with its fragility, but it's closer to that than what you might be used to for a product that's truly made for younger kids. Now, they do have simpler versions of these, and I did buy a simpler mech from this brand at the same time, so I'll try out one of those and see if there's any difference. If you're a nerdy fan of brick building, you really like the parts and build techniques and everything, you'll probably want to pause here if you haven't experienced stuff from outside the Danish brand, especially because there's a ton of stuff just amongst these spare parts here that you've probably never seen before. Really good things. Like I love the fact that they will do that. So many companies will do a bracket that just has the stud directly on the side, kind of hanging there, which is completely durable, works out perfectly fine, but avoids having that half plate offset, which is all awkward. They've got this style here. You can see another color of it over there. A slightly different version of this, slightly different version of this. This is a really interesting corner piece. It's like a counterpart to this, but will work up against curves. It's a 2/3 height. It's kind of like a double curved corner cheese, not slope, but curve, This is a super useful piece right here. These ball end pieces work well. I don't think they're compatible with the Danish brand. The size of the ball end there, I think, is different. This is a great piece for just connecting things that have bars. This is a receptacle for their small ball ends. In general, you've got this piece, this, you've probably seen these before. Like, I can totally love on the available parts that they have here. Doing the T style of bar without any kind of knurled central section to it, so it minimizes or maintains a minimal radius everywhere it possibly can. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And also this is able to rotate in certain areas because it has that rounded edge. And finally, this is interesting as well. They have the notch and non-notch versions of this. Look at that. It's the height of a full brick, but then it's notched. And then it also increases in height. It's like a cheese slope. It's raised. It's all super complex. This is what the sticker sheet looked like. I love that effect again, but yeah, it's a lot of stickers. And honestly, you could just leave all of them off and it'll still look pretty good. Just a little bit lower in detail. You won't have quite as many little bits of gold around it. Oh, and finally, I did get one of these exclusive Sluban brand little green dragon part separators. I was really looking forward to this with my last set. Didn't get one, but this set did include it, and I'm just happy about that. It's a little printed thing. It's just, it's just fun. Again, it's $36 US on Amazon for 704 pieces. The lowest I've seen it was $28 shipped to the US via economy air, like 2 weeks on barweir.com. Feels like a very good deal. I'm completely satisfied with the amount of stuff that I got for the price I paid. I'm a little bit disappointed in some of the quirks with the joints, with some of the joints being too low in friction, especially right here in the elbow, especially the elbow, and too stiff in other places, especially in the knees. Honestly, the hip, it's not so bad. You get plenty of leverage easily, but in the knees, yeah, those it's a different type of part, different set of parts there. Just a pair that goes together. Those are too strong. Yep. Other than that, the amount of articulation is fine. I actually thought it was going to be more fragile than it is, just seeing how many pieces it has, how many small detail pieces. And the build of this is very genuine. It doesn't feel like you're doing a lot of cheating work. Obviously, there's some things that have to be hidden behind panels to allow for articulation, so those things can move out of the way while you're posing this and finding the space that you need to finish a pose. But it's not like, other than the head, it's not like they have any major big mech pieces for this. The knees are the most specialized things, I think, other than the head, and those can be used for any number of things. They have good number of connections, very, very standard style of connections. So the whole thing is truly built up from just parts, and it does use a lot of parts that, again, I've never seen before, which I've personally found to be enjoyable. Oh yeah, I should zoom back in as well, just real quick. You might see just on the side of the right here, right there. See that curve? It's a 1x2, but then it's curved in the corner. Just a cool piece. And you can see it over on the other side again, slightly more from underneath. All those sorts of things. And you see the gold pieces down here in the chest from the side. We saw something similar to that in the spares. All that kind of stuff was just fun for me to nerd out over and to appreciate. I like seeing different things. I mean, these are obviously different as well. You might not have seen that sort of shape. So all in all, I feel like this was a very good deal. This is a newer Sluban set than the first one that I reviewed. This is much, much newer, so it shows some of their progression. It's not the newest set they've got out there, though. This did come out in 2023, as far as I can tell. There's another part I forgot to specifically call out. I'm sure you saw it by now. This is something interesting. It just connects onto a bar piece, right? Yeah, pretty good value. Has its quirks. I hope that I've done a good job of showing you everything. Yeah, to inform you so that you know. I'm not trying to sell these things, obviously, but I'm not trying to simply hate on them. I want to show you the good and the bad and hope that I've done that here fairly. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support what I do, because I do buy these things, if you'd like to help me to be able to bring you more content, you can do so without spending any money of your own on me. Spend money of your own on whatever you want to buy. Just use one of my affiliate links and I could get a very small commission. And that's all I'll say about that. Just helps to run the channel. Again, thanks just for watching though, and I'll talk to you again soon.